All right, wine drinking people, we're back with our new friend Weston Horde, who is lucky enough to marry one of the daughters here at Paolo Scavino, and one of the great properties in the Piedmont. You could just tell this guy was having a lot of fun doing what he was doing, traveling around the country and selling wine, even though he's now on the production side. But these are wines that we're very familiar with. We've done numerous events through the years with Paolo Scavino's wines. I have a vertical collection of them on the shelf here. We have a whole Scavino section in our Piedmont Barolo area. And some great stuff. And we have the 99 vintage Bric later this evening, which we'll review. Some drinking beautifully right now. And first up, the Langhe Bianco, a nice little wine, a blend of Chardonnay, Viognier, and Sauvignon Blanc with some nice white floral tones, white peaches, notes of whetstone. Really refreshing. Even some fresh herb note here on the finish. Really nice little unique white wine from the Piedmont. You don't see much white wine in the Piedmont. Usually it's Arnais, but they do make some great Chardonnay. Angelo Gaia Chardonnay, probably the best white Chardonnay made in Italy. Comes from the Piedmonts. All right, next up, the Rosso Vino di Tavola. And this wine is a kitchen and sink blend. Whatever they have left, they throw in here. There's Dolcetto, Barbera, Nebbiolo, Merlot. And hey, usually I do not like wines like this. They're what I call a train wreck. Well, this wine actually has some direction and some nice fruits, some pretty floral tones, and fermented in stainless steel, so very pleasing to drink. A refreshing style red, a really nice train wreck style blend from Paolo Scavino. Next up, the Dolcetto di Alba. And I don't have to tell you what I think about Dolcetto, but everybody will argue its case with me. And this wine was good, but the Barbera up next. Much nicer bottle of wine and only a few dollars more. I'm putting my money into Barbera every time, folks. This is Barbera di Alba, and this is their stainless steel fermented Barbera. They do make a Bric age also, but some people believe that Barbera is all about the fruit. The tannin doesn't have Barbera doesn't have much tannin, so they'll add oak to it, which adds a little tannin to help round it out. But this wine, pure unadulterated Barbera, and light smoky tobacco nuance, some spice in there, some sweet black cherry fruit, some notes of soy and black truffle in here also. A ripe and forward Barbera with some nice earth, but a pure unadulterated expression of that varietal. Very good. Next up, the Nebbiolo Langhe, and this wine is basically declassified Barolo. A lot of producers, what they're doing today is they're taking some of their young vines and their stuff maybe not as good, that they wouldn't put in their top wines. Maybe they would have put in their Barolo in the past. They're making an entry-level wine, something that people can afford, and, just to get a taste of Nebbiolo if they have never had Barolo. And they're making it in a style that's more ready to drink. So I love these Nebbiolo Langhe wines. This is basically, like I said, declassified Barolo from their Lamora vineyards. It's grapes, some lovely red cherry liqueur-like fruit here, fresh rose petals, exotic spice, and your classic Nebbiolo bouquet there. Lovely juicy cherry fruit on the tongue with smooth tannins. It just explodes in your mouth. Really lovely entry-level Nebbiolo here from Paolo Scavino. Next up, their Barolo 2006. This is a classic vintage in the Piedmont, as you will find. We did a 2006 vintage tasting last night in the store. We're going to review all those wines. Some fabulous juice, very tannic, but very refined, high-toned, mid-palate, and really nice, long finish with these wines. This wine comes from 4 single vineyards, Bric, Ambrosia, Venea, Vito Novo, and Candana vineyards, and it's 1 year in French oak, 20% new, 2 years in large 5,000-liter Botti, in the 3rd year in bottle. All their Barolos go through the very same treatment at Scavino. Lovely perfume on the nose, fresh flowers, rose petals, classic Barolo exotic spices, a hint of tar. Classic vintage, as I mentioned before, for Barolo means firm tannins. So these wines are going to need another 5-10 years in your cellar if you're lucky enough to be able to get them. Great stuff. And for $60, a really nice bottle of Barolo. Well, we skip right to one of the best wines they make next, because they make 5, 6 different Barolos, the Annunziata being the most expensive. But for me, the best wine in the lineup is usually a Bric del Fiasc. And the soil this is a vineyard where the soil movements on the estate come together with the Teutonian Hills, which produce a more elegant, more racy style Barolo coming from the Helvetian soil. I had a hard time getting that one out. Which lies on the other side of the fault line in this horseshoe-shaped west-southwest facing vineyard. Really lovely situated. Similar geological phenomenon happens in the Bon Mars vineyard in Burgundy. But this wine's got a lovely terroir to it, a lovely elegance, and the 2004 vintage, a classic vintage. It's a vintage that is going to need time. You know, it has all the pieces here, that lovely potpourri of dried flower and exotic spice, and just a firm wall of tannins in this wine. And I think, you know, with 5-10 more years in the bottle, you're going to really notice the lovely perfume and fruit come out even more. All right, folks, well, that's what we had to drink with the folks from Scavino. Next up, we got a few things from Pat we dropped by later on in the day.